CNN was humiliated by a schoolboy. A Tim Walz education appointee was exposed for wanting to overthrow the United States government, and Hurricane Helene is barreling towards Florida. We'll get to all of that and much more in today's video, but first we turn to CNN, which admitted to airing a digitally altered photo of President Trump. Let's take a look.
Friday evening and on Saturday, CNN aired a number of segments that briefly showed an image of former President Donald Trump and Laura Loomer taken from social media. On review, this image had been digitally altered by a third party and should not have been included. We regret the error.
So, as she said at the beginning of the clip, it was multiple segments. This first aired on Anderson Cooper, and this is what the digitally altered photo looked like.
Him to 9/11 ceremonies, despite having posted a video claiming the attacks were an inside job.
So that photo makes Trump look huge, obese. It makes it look like he is a slob. Well, Trump likes to wear that white polo shirt a lot whenever he goes golfing, and this is what he actually looks like. You'll notice, the shirt itself is much smaller, and Trump himself is much fitter than what that CNN photograph makes him look like. Now, we all know what Trump looks like. Even before he ran for president, he was a public figure, one of the most famous people in the world. Anyone could look at that and see that that was clearly altered. Trump, to my knowledge, has never been that shape, that size. And I think this is why people don't trust the media, right? Because if they can't even get something as simple as a photograph right, how can we trust them when it comes to the details of the news, when it comes to the details of what's happening on the Hill, or what's happening on the ground in these critical stories that are happening all around the country? And I think that's why, trust in the mainstream media is at all-time lows. Well, CNN, in addition to that photograph, which they admitted was altered, they had a few embarrassing moments today, and one of those moments was when they started asking children what they think of the state of the race. And they asked this little schoolboy what he thought about Kamala Harris, and they were not expecting his answer.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.
Yikes, that is not a good thing at all. So I don't have kids currently. I do plan on having kids whenever I'm older. But those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, you know that one of the jobs that I do to be able to support myself is I teach piano. I teach piano at a music school right outside of town. And one of the things I've learned over the years is that kids have this uncanny ability to judge character immediately. They can meet someone and they just have this gut instinct. So I think it's amazing that that kid, he might not know politics like you and I know it, but he can tell he doesn't trust Kamala Harris's character. I think that's a big thing. So a lot has been made about the polls recently, right? And I wanted to share another aspect or another data point that we haven't talked about on the channel yet, and it's about this recent Gallup survey. Gallup obviously is a huge trusted name in research. Now, this isn't polling, this is actually party identification. And so you can see here that Republicans, for the first time in years, decades actually have an advantage. There are 48% of the U.S. voting population is either registered as Republican or identifies as Republican, compared to only 45%. So that is huge news. So, even if you don't believe the polls, party identification, party affiliation, that's hard data. We know how people actually register. And Eric Dougherty, who is a polls guy, well, he actually combined this data, party affiliation, and how closely that aligned with the final results of each election. And this is what he found in 2008. The Democrats had an 8-point advantage in party registration. Well, Obama won the election by 7.2 points. In 2012, Democrats had a 4-point advantage in registration. Obama won by 3.9. In 2016, Democrats had you get the idea. So the final results closely matched the party advantage on the national vote level, right? The popular vote. Well, in 2024, if this Gallup research is to be believed, Republicans have a 3-point edge when it comes to party registration. So if that trend holds up, Trump is in a great place to not only win the popular vote, but if he wins the popular vote, he should swamp the Electoral College. Now, one of the things going on as we get closer to election day is, the candidates, their policies, what they do, every word they say is going to be closely scrutinized, but not just everything they say, what they've done in the past. And Kamala Harris right now is being really scrutinized over her decision to pick Tim Walz, because it's being revealed that one of Tim Walz's education appointees, he appointed this man, Brian Lozensky, to be in charge of ethnic studies in Minnesota. And this is newly revealed publicly footage of Brian Lozensky. Again, this is an appointee by Tim Walz in Minnesota.
And we're also sometimes lying on ourselves when people say, like, oh, we use critical race theory in school. We don't use critical race theory in school. The first tenet of critical race theory is that the United States as constructed is irreversibly racist. So if the nation state as constructed is irreversibly racist, then it must be done with. It must be overthrown, right? And so we can't be like, oh no, critical race theory is just about telling our stories and divert. It's not about that. It's about overthrow. It's insurgent. And we need to be, I think, more honest with that. And it's funny that they don't understand critical race theory, but they actually tell some truth when they're like, yeah, it is anti-state. You can't be a critical race theorist and be pro-US. Okay, it is an anti-state theory that says the United States needs to be deconstructed, period, right? Like that's, and so I think it's an interesting argument there, and that's why I'm a critical race theorist. But
So that was Brian Lozensky, and just to clarify, just to confirm, according to the National Review, Walz appointed him to be, the education in charge of ethnic studies in the state of Minnesota. I mean, Walz is the vice presidential candidate for the Democrats. He is going to be one heartbeat away from the presidency. And that is apparently what he thinks of the country. He condones this because he appointed that guy. And that's what he is indoctrinating children with in schools in Minnesota. That is why, not just in Minnesota, but all across the nation, you see parents outraged. You see parents getting more involved in their school districts because of nonsense like that. When conservatives talk about brainwashing, that's what they're talking about. We just want kids to be taught math, science, reading. We don't want them indoctrinated with nonsense like that, the U.S. is somehow irreversibly. Let me tell you something. A few videos ago, I, explained that, I'm Filipino American. I am a first generation born Filipino American, and I'm very proud of that. But let me tell you how insulting that is for me to have my parents emigrate legally, by the way, to this country because they wanted to pursue the American dream, because they, love the Constitution, because they love what America stands for, and they wanted to pursue that dream for themselves. How insulting is it to me and people like me to have that guy say that America is irreversibly racist? To me, that's an insult to my parents. That's an insult to their legacy. That's an insult, to why I am such a staunch defender of the Constitution. And I think that is a huge stain on Tim Walz's judgment, as well as Kamala Harris's judgment. Now, I believe this was the Wall Street Journal. Tim Walz brings in liberated ethnic studies to Minnesota, and this begins, according to the Wall Street Journal, as early as kindergarten. The state's school children, as early as kindergarten, are being indoctrinated in radical racial ideology. And as that one guy said, it's not just critical race theory as is popularly understood. It's actually about overthrowing the U.S. government, because they believe that the U.S. is irreversibly racist. I think that's just absolutely disgusting. Well, a few of you I know are from the state of Florida. Off the top of my head, I see your comments. Patty, Lily, Christine. I know there are so many more. And forgive me for not remembering you off the top of my name or top of my mind. But my prayers, thoughts are with you. There is a hurricane, for those of you who haven't been following the weather. Hurricane Helene is barreling towards the state of Florida, expected to hit the coast, Gulf Coast later tonight. Currently, it is a Category 2, but they are expecting it will strengthen to a Category 4 by this evening. And in some portions, forecasters are even warning about a, quote, unsurvivable storm surge. Well, here is footage of one of the major roadways, one of the major highways in Florida. The storm hasn't even reached land yet. It hasn't made landfall. And the water is already covering the roads. I mean, just crazy footage you can see there. Now, of course, Florida is going to be Florida, and Floridians are going to do Floridian things. Even though the water's already rising, someone went on their boat and is campaigning for Trump as the hurricane approaches.
That's hilarious.
You gotta love that. Now, I mean this jokingly, just to clarify, but it's so dumb. This is okay. I'm just gonna play the clip. This is from 2021, just so we're clear. But I thought this would be an appropriate flashback, and I'm not trying to make light of the hurricane. I know it's a very serious situation, and I seriously pray for everyone's safety and hope that you're safe. But in case you want a reminder of how ridiculous Joe Biden is, here's a flashback from 2021 and his advice on how to prepare for hurricanes.
Let me be clear. If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated and a hurricane or a natural disaster hits. Get vaccinated now so you're ready for whatever may come this month. The bottom line is this: get vaccinated, make a plan.
And, you know, yesterday, Kamala Harris, on her interview with MSNBC, the theme of her interview was, we need to be serious about issues. We need to be serious about topics to be taken seriously. And so the American people know we're serious about being serious about these serious topics, right? That's how she talks. Well, that clip right there, I think, proves why people don't take Democrats seriously. And speaking of not taking Democrats seriously in the state of Florida, yesterday in Palm County, or is it Palm County Beach? Palm County, yes. There is a pre-canvassing election meeting, and a woman, Palm Beach County. Sorry, my notes are all jumbled out. There was a woman who was kicked out because she was simply asking a question. And you'll notice she was just sitting down. She wasn't threatening anyone. I have a suspicion of who called the cops on her. I think it's the guy who stands up and is on his phone and is smirking in the back. But you guys let me know what you think. Do you think she was unjustly removed, or do you think the county officials did the right thing in removing her? It's quite shocking.
To get removed. She's answering the floor is not yours. If you want more, you're after the election.
I've been trying to ask the same question since 2022. They're two totally different types of paper.
Stephanie, I'm sorry. She's going to be removed, and she'll be removed for the remainder of the election. I give you one more exam.
Yes, seriously, you gotta be kidding.
You know what?
Mary, if you have a First Amendment right, you're allowed to stay.
You're still not addressing the different.
Man, you know you're wrong, man. You know she has a First Amendment right to be here.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! The way you're bending my arm, that is really horrible. What? It's really.
Hey,
What
can you
am I
guys
going
name
to do?
badge numbers?
All I want to know is about the two different styles of paper, and how is there a paper trail? Please get your hands off of me. Please get your fingers off. You know what? My bag. Since 2022, I've been trying to get an answer about this. I am a taxpayer here in Palm Beach County, and I am sick and tired of this game that's being played. This is really horrible. This is really horrible.
What did you have back there?
Please get off. I'd like to.
No, ma'am, we gave you the opportunity.
You know what? If I get bruised.
Ma'am, stop. You are not leaving with the badge.
Take everything off. This is really horrible. Please take your hands off of me. I want to get my stuff. I want to get my stuff. This is really, truly disgusting. Okay. This is disgusting. I am a taxpayer here in Palm Beach County, and I am trying to ask a simple question about the two different styles of paper that are being used. This is really...
Look, just absolutely disappointing that that's happening when people just simply want transparency in our elections. You know, people on the left say that the right is full of conspiracy theories. Well, you would eliminate the conspiracy theories once and for all if you were just transparent and honest. But it's stuff like this that allows, you know, people to continue to be doubtful, that allows for people to reasonably question what is going on. Why are you so afraid of answering a simple question? And I don't want to make it about race, but the left always makes things about race. To me, she looks maybe Hispanic, Latinx. She doesn't look white to me. I think if she had been brought out, you know, if roles were reversed, let's say she was a Democrat questioning the election, and if she had been brought out by two white male officers, I think the left would be crying racism or sexism or something like that. I'm just saying, just pointing that out there. And I hope me hitting the microphone didn't hurt anyone's ears. I'm sorry about that if you're wearing a headphone. As always, that is my analysis, my commentary, and what's going on from my point of view. What do you think about everything going on? Specifically, I'm curious about that CNN story that we opened with. I find it really hard to believe. Just even looking at that photograph of Trump, I think anyone would know that that was an altered photo. Trump isn't that large. He's never been that large. He doesn't look like a slob. Do you think that was just laziness on CNN's part? Just speculating here, or do you think perhaps it was intentional? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask, but it really does help me in the algorithm to reach more viewers like you. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.